Hey there, David Gordon from TheaterMania here. I'm here with the absolutely wonderful Klea Blackhurst, Jim Caruso, and Billy Stritch. They put on a great Christmas show. They have a great new Christmas album called Christmas at Birdland. It's out now. They've got a concert on Friday night via Radio Free Birdland, a swingin' Birdland Christmas, and I'm excited to talk all things Christmassy with three people who have a far more Christmassy background than I do. Tell me about, well, Jim and Billy, I know you guys do like a yearly Christmas concert.
Yes, we've been doing this.
All three of us.
Yeah, three of us. Yeah.
This is our 11th year all together.
Right.
Consecutively, which is why taking it to the airwaves was like particularly important to us, because like when you have like a running thing, that's so rare in show business. That's like our show, it's 10 years old, it's 11, oh, pandemic, well, we're gonna make it 11 years anyway.
That's right. We're not gonna let no stinking pandemic keep us down.
That's right. We have far too much fa la la to not do the show again. Yeah. Plus, it's our tradition, just the three of us and our great band, Steve Doyle and Daniel Glass, that have been with us all those years. I mean, we just, it's part of our holiday. So even if we got together and did it for nobody, we would still probably get together.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you recorded the album last July, not 2020, 2019.
Right.
There it is.
There it is. Boom.
I know, Klea. Come on. Sorry. That's okay. Yeah.
This was a joy. This was a surprise and a joy to do. I mean.
What? Tell them why it was a surprise, because.
You know, things don't always work out like this. We've been doing this show for years. We recorded it live one year, which was terrific, and it was nice to have it to sell at the gig. But it was indeed a live recording. All of a sudden, this guy started hanging out at Cast Party at Birdland, and he said he was a record producer, and okay, good for you. And then I went home and I Googled him. Well, he's for real. Wayne Hahn,
an actual record producer.
Yeah, Wayne Hahn has dozens of Dove Awards for the gospel field. In the gospel field,
30 something actually.
Yeah, and which is the gospel Grammy, and many Grammy nominations. And he's worked with tons of brilliant people. And he was asking if I thought Billy and I specifically had something that we would want to record. And I said, well, maybe, but what we'd really love to do is to do a Christmas album of the show that we do every year with Klea. And he was like, done. And it was one of those jobs that a lot of times in show business, things are disappointing in the long run, in the end. Like on paper, they're really good. But this was an absolute joy from the beginning to write this very minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything worked just the way he said it would work. He's been doing gospel and that kind of music for so long, but has always had this love of Broadway and Great American Songbook. And so he and his partner, Joel Lindsay, who's a fantastic songwriter and musician as well, along with a couple of other people, formed a label called Club 44 Records, which has a specific focus on Broadway, Great American Songbook. They recorded, the first thing I did with them was an album for, no, actually, ours was the first one.
We were the first thing.
We were the first thing. And as Jim said, you know, it's so rare that things go exactly according to plan. Before we knew it, we were in the studio in New York. I was laying down tracks. Then we booked another studio. We did the vocal. And then at some point leading up to it, Jim said, I wonder if we could get, I mean, we are friendly with Dave Koz, who's a fantastic sax player, and sort of friendly with Donny Osmond. You know, we've known him over the years, and he's come to see Cast Party. And Jim said, God, wouldn't it be so great if we could get Dave and Donny on the album? I'm like, yeah, but that'll never, you know. And I was like, you know, just send him an email, just ask him. And like literally within less than a day, they both responded and said, I'm in. It's fantastic. So that's another example. Things went totally according to plan. I mean, Dave happened to be in town on the day that we recorded the vocals, so he showed up in the studio with his alto sax and laid down tracks on 2 beautiful songs. And then Donnie, I laid down a scratch track of what I wanted him to sing on the opening number of the album. And I think within like 3 hours, he sent back his recording, because he's got a little studio in his home. Of course he does.
Right.
And it could not have gone smoother or easier. And then once we were done with Wayne took it back to Nashville, and he added he's a fantastic orchestrator. He added beautiful string arrangements to 2 of the songs, and then a really great horn arrangement to another song. So, it's trio mostly, but there's a lot of variety in the sound of it, because you hear an orchestra come in, you hear enhancements. And
I know I am most excited about the strings. That's big time show business. I love it.
I feel like strings makes everything like sound like, for me, it's like strings in a brass section that just makes everything just sound.
It makes everything okay. Really does, more than okay, in a big way.
Before we went live, I was telling Klea that my new favorite holiday song, it was something I'd never heard before, was the K. Thompson Jingle Bells, which closes the album. And I was saying that I could listen to it, like I can listen to it 5 times in a row and not get tired of it. And Klea was telling me how extremely difficult it was to learn and to do and record and get right. So tell me about that.
Well, per performance, like ratio from like learning to performance time, it is definitely the biggest one. It takes a long time to learn, and it goes by just like a toboggan ride down the mountain. So you could do it 5 times to be the length of one regular song.
Almost, yeah.
It's a great, it's a great story. The guys should tell you, because they have the real K. Thompson connection. So
yeah, Jim, you go ahead.
Well, Kay was a friend. K. Thompson, if you don't know, was the vocal arranger at MGM in the 40s and coached Judy Garland and Frank Sinatra and Mel Torme. So she was really the sound of MGM at that point. And then she was in a movie called Funny Face, where she tells Audrey Hepburn and everybody to think pink. And then she wrote a book called Eloise, about the little girl who lives at the Plaza Hotel.
I was going to say, that's my only association with her, which I'm a bad, like, musical theater person.
Yeah, well, most people don't know it's the same human.
Right.
But she was Liza Minnelli's godmother. Liza, of course, Billy and I have worked with for years. Not of course, but we've worked with her.
Right.
Of course. Knows that. Of course.
Since you've studied our Wikipedia. So she became a friend, which was extraordinary. She was well into her 80s, but was just as funny and hip and smart and crazy hip as we had hoped. And so we got to know this woman. She rewrote Jingle Bells for herself and the Williams brothers, Andy and his brothers, for their nightclub act, which turned, Cafe Society on its ear back in the day. And so I knew of that arrangement because the Osmonds, it all goes back to the Osmonds.
It always goes back to the Osmonds.
It's true. They recorded it, and Andy Williams recorded it. And now that you know it, David, you're going to hear it all the time, because a lot of people have recorded it.
I'm sure. And it's funny.
It's so fun.
I'm so sure I've heard it before, too.
You have.
Because I've heard every Christmas song before.
Yeah, I mean, well, and Andy Williams, that whole connection, because, she worked with the Williams brothers. And then when he went solo, he had his TV show, and he discovered basically the Osmond brothers and brought them to the attention of before Donnie came along. And then Donnie. And so they all sang the song. And what's great about the arrangement is it's such a different take on Jingle Bells that actually the official published title of it is K. Thompson's Jingle Bells. That she was able to take a song that was certainly in the public domain and put her
make money off of it
and monetize it. But it's fantastic. It was a joy to learn. It's always one of my favorite moments in the live show. And I'm like you. I can listen to it. I mean, I've listened to it many times, and I never lose the joy of listening. And I'm not that way about listening to my own things. But
oh God, no.
this album really makes me happy. I have to say, from beginning to end, it's joyful.
How do you narrow down? You know, you guys have been doing this show for so long that you have everything down to a science. But when you're like developing a show like this or an album like this, how do you narrow down a set list of like holiday songs when there are so freaking many holiday songs?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, well, and the advantage to doing it year after year is that, you know, it has evolved and changed. And so our goal every year has been to take out 2 or 3 and add 2 or 3 new things to the show. And there is such a wealth of material that it's really, I don't know how you pick the right material, but for me as the arranger, I certainly try to approach it from the standpoint of how would our voices lend itself to, you know, a particular song. And so sometimes it's a no-brainer. It's like, oh, that would be something I could create an arrangement for. Right. So, and for the most part, it's upbeat. The show is very upbeat, and we try to keep it jazzy as possible, you know, but
jazzy.
Well, jazz adjacent. But also,
Klea gets the one big ballad.
Yeah, she gets the one big ballad.
Well, you know, what I was going to add is that it's sort of like a 3-legged stool, and you have to like make it balance, right? And there's 3 kinds of songs. There's Jesus songs, Santa Claus songs, and cold. Yeah. And every song of the season. And so somehow, as long as you touch on each of those, everybody kind of goes away happy. But you can lean on cold ones. Cold songs lend themselves to jazz, I think.
Winter songs are a big plus on this album, and Santa Claus songs are good. I know you hate that, Santa Claus.
That's my pet peeve. That's my holiday pet peeve.
There's a song called Mr. Santa, which is a Christmas version of Mr. Sandman. Give me a dream. So that's a Santa Claus song. And of course, we do our, a song called You Meet the Nicest People Everywhere. Jim sings that. That's taken from an Andy Williams Christmas special, right, Jim?
That is it's burned in my mind.
Sure.
It seems like every Christmas special when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s had a scene where the star was walking through a snowy set.
A village or something.
A village, and people would be the women would have muffs. I've never really seen a human with a muff, but whatever. And it's snowing, and Andy Williams sings this song that is so, can I say it? It's very white. And the set is white, and he's in a white turtleneck. And a white coat. It's just so, it's
cheerful and Christmassy.
It's cheerful, and it's exactly how I wanted to grow up in that set. So when we put that song in, it made me so delirious.
I know.
Sadly delirious.
And another one that I love on the album is we took one of my favorites called The Christmas Waltz. It's that time of year.
I never heard of that song until I listened to this album.
Yeah, I mean, that's a traditional song, but we added a little counter melody that's very much about walking through New York in the wintertime. So it's another one, as Klea says, it's another winter kind of song. Yeah. And we kind of put our New York stamp onto that song.
But that's a lyric by Sharon Douglas.
That's right.
And a melody by Aaron Weinstein.
That's right. We've been doing that a while. And there's another one that I sing called Christmas in Manhattan in December, which was written by Anne Hampton Callaway and Lady Robbins. And so it's another kind of winter New York centric song that I think certainly fits the theme of the album. Christmas at Birdland, New York.
It's so us. I mean, I have to say.
Well, who else would it be? Come on.
No, but I mean, there are a lot of Christmas albums. I mean, not to blow our horn or ring our bell. Oh God! Don't say "blow our horn" to Klea, because she will pull out the pocket trumpet and
I'll do 16 bars of Spanish Flea for you.
Right. She will.
But I think, even if you didn't know who did this record, you would know by listening to it, because it's all of the stuff we love. It screams our name.
We have a
really fun people.
Oh, look at Seth. Seth Walters, you got married. Happy.
Congratulations.
Amazing. Yes, congratulations.
We love him.
We love you, Seth.
This is for Seth. He likes when I wave really close to his face.
What do you ever do the show and you like put in like Melakaliki Maka or something, and like after one performance you just see that it just doesn't work and you completely get rid of it and you revise it? Right?
Melakaliki Maka.
We did exactly that on ukulele. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a whole segment in the live show in the middle where we do silly songs, and that's not on the album because we just do like a little verse or half a verse. But we do Feliz Navidad. Klea does pull out the pocket trumpet. Jim does a really wonderful impersonation of Elvis Presley singing Blue Christmas. I sing, Susie Snowflake and Mamacita. Donde está Santa Claus? I mean, there's so many bad, funny songs. Literally thousands.
I'm so glad your Wi-Fi went out during that song. I don't know if the rest of you heard that, but it was like,
Oh, yeah, we're taking that out.
Early on, that got ditched pretty fast. I did one called I Took My Horn to a Party and Nobody Asked Me to Play.
Yeah.
And so we've had things that come and go. Absolutely.
Yeah, that went away after 1 year.
I won't say the title in case somebody we know wrote it that's watching TheaterMania today. Anyway.
I think whoever wrote that song is long gone.
But it's funny that you say Melakaliki Maka because we absolutely did that with ukuleles. Klea can really play. I tried to play the ukulele. I was never good at it. And so it just became a kind of a
if we could do everything in G, not the key of G, like actually just on G, the chord.
With one chord?
Yeah, there's not a lot of
I'd kill it. I would kill it.
And I'd be the one at the piano going, go to the 4 chord, please change the chord.
Well, Billy's the one who said to me when I was we have a ukulele in our Hoagie Carmichael show as well. Yeah. And he said to me, I'm tuning it up kind of right before. He said, you know what they say about ukulele players? I said, what? He said, they spend one half of their life tuning and the other half playing out of tune. And he actually, it's a great line. And now people actually boo when he says it.
Of course.
I think that's a great honor to me.
Good.
So true. Right. It is so true.
So the concert is on Friday night. It airs on Friday night. You taped it at Birdland.
Yes.
COVID protocols. That must have been weird, I'm sure.
It was very weird. As you know, we've done this series at Birdland, a Radio Free Birdland, that I've kind of been a part of. It's so weird. First of all, the getting ready, you have to be 6 feet away from people that you know so well. That's weird. You can't hug them. You can't have fake Merry Christmas hugs. And then on stage, you have to be so careful. Was that me?
That's my dogs.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was my Coco repeating on me.
I'll be right back. Let me just take care of it. Keep telling me.
We'll just have silence. It's very weird, and singing straight out so that you're not spraying on your fellow singers, and but the worst, Klea, you'll get this. You do the first song to nobody, to a room of one cameraman and one sound guy in the other corner, and at the end of the song, you're going along nice, and it's a big ta-da, and it's dead silent.
Yeah, it's really hard to get used to it. And to really get familiar with the camera, because you need to just play to the camera or it looks really weird.
Right.
You're just playing to an imaginary audience and balcony,
Right. That looks very strange to be like, hello, when the audience knows there's nobody sitting there.
Yeah. But people are applauding at home.
Yeah, well, that's what we hope. And that's what you kind of put in your head, that, on the other side of that little light are actual people. Well, I mean, we hope.
And it's weird, and I've talked to a lot of artists about this, but on a, in a thing like this, or like a concert like you guys are going to do, or like a show, more people could probably see this show now this year than ever could during a full year run at Birdland, just the limitations of the space.
Of course. Of course. We've found that out. I do Pajama Cast Party on YouTube. Billy does Billy's Place on Facebook. Klea's been doing an Ethel Merman playbill series that's just incredible. I'm sure between all of those, we have found more of an audience this year than we could ever have at Birdland. I mean, Birdland seats 150 people.
I mean, I regularly have people every Thursday night that watch me from London, from Kentucky, from Florida, from, you know, you name it. And those people wouldn't be able to see me once a year, not much less more, you know, maybe they haven't seen me in years, you know. That was one good thing to come out of this. And
that's
at the
really
beginning, it didn't occur to me at the beginning of this, but as we went on, it was like,
nothing occurred to us in the beginning of this.
Just how am I going to pay the rent? That was
right. I remember calling Billy like the first week of April and saying, "How are we going to pay rent? Being out of work for another month?
Right.
This is, and you know, really upset, not knowing it would be, you know, a year, basically a year."
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Well,
but it is exciting because the thing for me is we can't sell out. We can't sell out because there is no limit on
sale. Well, we've all sold out years ago, but
thank you.
Mentally. I like that.
I really need to get a rim shot button that I could just.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. You can install a drum kit underneath.
I hope people really take advantage of that. I have a lot of family, well, we all over the country, who would never be able to make that trip to New York City, and this is the chance. I've talked to all of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. I'm from Utah, so we have children, and I hope that, and they're all going to buy tickets and sit at home and have popcorn and you know,
gather around the TV and watch.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep,
we have our TV special.
That's it.
I know this is it. Network Christmas special that we all three of us have yearned for.
But talk about how we broadened it a bit. We have guests.
Oh yeah, we have guests. We have three wonderful guests. The first one is a fantastic song and dance guy, taps like crazy. Luke Hawkins. Mm-hmm. He opens the show actually before we even go on stage. He kind of sets the stage, and it's so cute. I just watched it. I just got sent the show this morning, and I watched a little of that. That's adorable. And then halfway through the show, there's a little break in the action. We sing about 20 minutes, and then we have a really fun Zoom call, just like we're doing right now, with Dave Koz, who played sax on the album. So we talk about the album a little bit, but also about what the holidays mean to all of us, and we're all friends, and so that's a little fun, like intermission in the show. And then right toward the end, we have the great legendary singer Marilyn May, who joins us. I was doing a gig with her in Minneapolis about, I guess, almost 2 months ago now, and we were just about to film this show. And I asked her, Jim actually said, do you think Marilyn would do another one? Jim said, and I said, let's just ask. And so we filmed her singing a gorgeous version of the Christmas song, Mel Torme's The Christmas Song. So that's so it is like a TV variety show with real guests. You know, it's just
very exciting. Yeah. I mean, we have Marilyn.
Yeah,
that is like about in today's landscape of like New York nightlife, that's a pretty good get. So
it's really true.
Yeah.
And we all have such a history with her too. Yeah. Billy has played for her since he was 17 years old.
40 years I have played for her.
I've known her since the early 80s. And Klea is a really good friend.
Yeah, 2005, we did a Jerry Herman tribute at Jazz at Lincoln Center for the Cabaret Convention. And then I went that same night. There's going to be people saying they were there at the Metropolitan Room that same night that Billy played for her and introduced her kind of to New York. And it was magical.
She had worked.
That's it. That's my, you know, my spirit animal, deity, something, I don't know, but she's, so I must have met her in her late 70s, and that 2005, well, this is her last year from 1 to 92.
Yeah, right.
We talked about, I just saw her last weekend and we talked about that. I said 92.
She's 92 years old.
Yeah.
But this is not like some 92-year-old lady that you go see in a club and kind of clap and feel kind of awkward about. This woman is
study her scientifically, I think, because something is different with Marilyn.
Never sung better, never been funnier, never looked better. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's fun. I hope she's not watching because I'm not wearing eyelashes. That's the only thing she
She'll be
asked.
so mad.
Let her down.
Just as you were talking about that show that first year at the Cabaret Convention in the Metropolitan Room, the year before I had been the first person to play the Metropolitan Room.
That's right.
And then Marilyn got invited to do the Cabaret Convention, and she said, "God, I wish there was a place to work." And I said, "Well, there's this little room." And then we booked her for one night, and the whole time she was like, "Oh, honey, no one's going to remember me. No one's going to come." She had not worked a club in New York at that time in maybe 15 years, 16 years, but had been working plenty in the Midwest and everywhere else. Oh God, no one remembers me. No one's going to come. And David, there was a line out the door.
Oh yeah.
And we could have easily sold the room 2 or 3 times then, just on her reputation. And a lot of people in New York who'd never had the chance, had always known about her, but never had the chance to see her live. And then, the rest is history because she's been selling out. She's been having better years in the last 13, 14 years than she would agree, than she ever has had in all those years.
Yeah, and she's been working this year.
Has she really? I didn't
More
know.
than anybody. Yeah.
She's my hero.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. She is we bow down to her. We bow down to Marilyn May. And watch our show for us, but really watch it for Marilyn May.
Special guest star.
Yeah.
That's right.
Friends, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. The album is out now. The concert is on Friday night. Hold up the album again.
There it is.
We can find that wherever music is.
Stream it, buy it, anywhere. You can get it all over.
Stream the heck out of it.
Buy it so the artists make money.
Yes.
That would be nice too.
Yeah. Be well. Thank you, friends.
Thanks, David.
So much. See you later.
Thanks.